Hang in
Dude,
there. It is.
that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Welcome back to another episode of The Smylie Show, and this is one I am particularly pumped about. This one. I know you're particularly pumped about this one as well, because this is a guy that we have been hammering the last 2 weeks for our one and done picks. A phenomenally talented young player, Luke Clanton. You obviously, if you've been following golf, really the past month, you saw him tie for 41st of the U.S. Open and have that showdown with Neil Shipley, the low AM contest on Sunday, and then keeps it rolling, keeps the momentum going, top 10s at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and then follows that up with a tie for second at the John Deere Classic. Just playing exceptionally good golf right now. As we speak, at the time of recording, this guy's favored, 16-1, the favorite going into the opposite field event this week against the Scottish Open, formerly the Bob Barbasol. I believe it's the ISCO Championship, but he has 9 points in the PGA Tour Accelerator rankings, PGA Tour U Accelerator rankings. Probably should have more, on a great run of form right now in golf. So have a really, really fun conversation to share with you all. Smylie and Luke talking about just what the last month's been like, Luke's exposure to tour life, super cool stuff. But before we get to that conversation, Smylie, we are thrilled to have a new presenting sponsor for the show, and one that's near and dear to both of our hearts as guys, pretty pale guys who burn pretty easily when we get on the golf course.
Yes,
and that is WearSPF, that do some incredible sunscreen products among other things. So I'm going to kick it over to you now. Tell me a little bit about your WearSPF experience and just the importance of putting on sunscreen when you're out playing.
No, we're just thrilled to be working with WearSPF. I got introduced to the sunscreen and the brand via Justin Thomas. A lot of people that I'm sure have seen the logo or just been kind of familiar with seeing that light blue bottle. It's Justin was the first person to give me some of the product for me to try out. And if you're not familiar with Justin Thomas's story when it comes to skincare and his skin cancer that actually he had in his leg removed, it just is a friendly reminder to go get checked. I know I've immediately went and scheduled a skincare appointment right after, and that was probably a couple of years ago. I'm probably due for another appointment here to go get checked as well. But Charlie, I'm really excited about this partnership with WearSPF as somebody that is outside all the time and trying not to get burned. And I'm a vitamin D deficient guy as well. So there's a lot of factors in here for me. And with WearSPF, it's been so far, this stuff has been really, really good for me.
It was a big learning moment for us because we sat down, we obviously know the importance of sunscreen for the reasons you listed. Justin Thomas, you don't want to get skin cancer. You don't want to have things removed if you can avoid it. But there are performance benefits. This is one of the big things we learned. If you, like me, are playing your summer golf in a place that is regularly above 95 degrees, regularly above 90% humidity, which means you are drinking a water bottle every other hole, you are not peeing at all during the round. Here's the deal. If you put sunscreen on, you reapply multiple times, it retains some of that hydration and it increases your performance because you're staying hydrated. You're not just sweating it all out. That to me was like a huge light bulb moment. Like, not only am I preventing skin cancer, I am theoretically playing better golf because my body is tuned a little bit better by way of putting on WearSPF.
You need something to negate the Miller Lights as well. That's dehydrating you as well. So might as well just go for some extra sunscreen every 4 holes. So they don't put transfusions in a spray bottle yet, but we can work on that. Maybe we could talk to WearSPF, the transfusion, light purple can transfusion.
Go for that.
Sunscreen bottle. But yeah, man, Justin's, we're going to hopefully have him on here to kind of tell a little bit more of his story down the line. But we got a ton of information about sun care, sun products from WearSPF that we're going to be giving to you guys over the coming weeks, that I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be learn a lot about it, because I sure have in the last couple of weeks.
And you have lots of options. All right, you have sticks, you have lip balms, you have mineral, you have chemical, you have spray on. Here's what you can do. If you go to wearspf.com and you use the code Smylie, that's SMYLIE 50. So SMYLIE 50, you can buy one and get the second one half off on any one product. And here's why this is a great play, because again, I like to have skincare products at home, but also there are times where I'm jetting out the door. I'm leaving the wife and kids and the dogs behind. I'm trying to get out quickly. I don't have time to put the sunscreen on at home. So I go to my locker and open that up, throw the spikes on. Well, not the spikes. Nobody wears spikes anymore, but throw the cleats on and I put my sunscreen on. So a little buy one, get one, save a little bit of money, have sunscare in 2 different spots and increase your performance on the golf course. I don't think it gets any better than that, Smylie.
I keep one in my car and one in my golf bag because at some point one always runs out. It's always nice to have that second option. And I'm definitely going to be forwarding this code to a lot of players I play with because everybody always ends up borrowing my sunscreen. So if you're a sunscreen moocher, this is the code for you.
Guy.
You have an opportunity to kind of load up on your stock thanks to WearSPF.
That's a great point. If you're the sunscreen guy, you get the second bottle half off. That's the mooch bottle. You just keep that one around. You toss that to your buddies. All right, you get to take it away, but buy your own next time.
Yeah.
So there you have it. It's SMYLIE 50, Smylie 50. That's the code for buy one, get one. And thrilled to have WearSPF partnered with the show. And so we will do a little nice natural segue from that into a guy who has been red hot, probably applying sunscreen in the process for the past month. Your conversation with Luke Clanton, it looks like you have some additional thoughts you want to add to this.
I just wanted to say that 60% of Division I golfers don't put on sunscreen. So we're about to talk to a Division I golfer, and I imagine with how hot he's been that he's definitely lacing up with plenty of sunscreen with how hot his play has been.
Yeah, it's like, me with the putter, sometimes like you got to wear the oven mitts to get it on. Luke's been red hot. He's needed to apply a lot of sunscreen just to keep himself cooled down a little bit. So big thanks to WearSPF, and let's get right to your conversation with Luke Clanton.
All right, welcome back to another episode of The Smylie Show. Thrilled to have Luke Clanton joining us here for this episode. And Luke, you're a household name now, man. Everybody knows who you are. Amateur, just finished top 10 the last 2 weeks. The first amateur to do that since 1958, finishing 10th at the Rocket Mortgage. And we saw you last week at the John Deere, finishing second. And we can't forget about the U.S. Open as well, making the cut as an amateur. Had a great battle with Neil Shipley that we're going to get into as well in this episode. But Luke, you're playing this week in Kentucky, and now the ISCO championship used to be the Barbasol. Are you just like absolutely worn out right now?
Yeah, I mean it's been awesome. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think the journey I've been on and kind of actually understanding the ropes of tour golf in a way is pretty cool. I'm really not used to going to an airport and picking up a car this easily. It's usually gotta go through a rental car and all that. And but it's been freaking awesome. I mean, just the people are great. I mean, the support's been unbelievable. And me and my caddy Jason have been traveling together, and it's just been awesome.
Yeah, it was impressive golf, man, and just really, I can't imagine that you have too many doubts in your game right now from just looking at your statistics, how many birdies you're making. Your stroke gain numbers are just absurd. I mean, Rocket Mortgage, you were second off the tee. John Deere last week, you were second in approach to the green. So your game, obviously, you have to be confident where you're at this week going to Kentucky, knowing that, hey, your stuff's holding up against the best players in the world.
Yeah, it's just been good. It's kind of funny. I mean, I kind of had a little bit of a swing thought that's a little crazy. It's like actually kind of feel like Scottie going through the ball a little bit, kind of smoother hands.
Welcome.
And
right here too. I'm trying the shuffle.
Gosh, yeah, it's been awesome. So I've been able to kind of feel it a little bit more and not get so technical with everything. My coach Jeff Leishman has been such a big help with that, just kind of making me dumb the game down as much as I can and realize that my game is good enough to go out and compete with these guys. And, again, like I didn't really think that going into this whole, stretch of golf, because again, I was an amateur and I'm still kind of learning everything. And now actually kind of prove myself that I can be in contention and actually maybe able to win one is pretty cool.
It's gotta be very exciting. And you're a player that Florida State just had an absolute breakout year, your sophomore year at Florida State, your freshman year. Just looking at your scoring average differentials, I'm always curious to see how players make a jump from their freshman year to sophomore year. A lot of times you start to see players like yourself, who's highly touted coming out of junior golf, be able to kind of really get it going. And we've seen it in your second year. You had 10 top 10s your sophomore year. And looking at your scoring averages, though, in your freshman year, 71.49, and your sophomore year, 69.33, which is the lowest scoring average in Florida State history. And if you know about anything about Florida State golf, there's been plenty of great players that come out of there. Daniel Berger, Brooks Koepka, now Luke Clanton to be the next in line. So let's talk a little bit about Florida State and your first couple years in college.
Yeah, Florida State was definitely the perfect choice for me. I think I was a little hectic going into college. I didn't really have a great game plan set for me, I guess you could say. And, Trey Jones was a massive help to that for me. Is kind of giving me a little bit more strict on certain things and making sure that I'm actually doing productive practice and not just going out and hitting balls and all these kind of things. And, I think from freshman year, fall, probably to right at the beginning of spring is when I was kind of just learning the ropes of everything. I think people don't realize how hard it is, that transition into college. And, postseason of freshman year was just unbelievable. It was just a blast being with the boys and actually having that kind of experience with brothers, basically. And then, sophomore year turned out to be pretty cool. It was pretty great, good golf came along. But again, I think just the practices we've done, I think all the training we've done in the gym, off the golf course, all these things, I think it's led me to have that kind of strong mentality when I'm out there in confidence, that I can do it. And I think Trey Jones has done a great job with that.
In your sophomore year, you're also the first Florida State golfer to ever win 3 consecutive events. So you've had quite the year, man. I imagine that the hole looks pretty big, the fairways look big, and that the center of the club face, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But your freshman year, what would you say besides just getting a little stronger in work ethic? What part of your game do you think developed the most from one year to the next?
This one's funny. It's definitely driving, for sure.
Driving.
I was a terrible driver of the golf ball. I mean, not good that freshman year. And I remember I looked at my stats, I think it was the end of fall, and I was averaging 45% fairways. I was like, this has got to stop. Yeah, this has got to stop.
Talking to the right guy. You're talking to the right guy. Bomb and gouge. Go figure it out.
Just go figure it out in the trees. That's basically what my game was. And I looked at Trey and I was like, I just really need to figure this out. And, I kind of got this low squeeze cut and I started cutting them more and started figuring out certain shots. And man, I think my sophomore year of spring, I averaged 82%, 83% fairways, which was I was hitting.
What's your ball speed?
Average around 180 to 182. So yeah, it was definitely comfortable to hit driver more than ever. And I think kind of having that confidence leads into your whole game. Because the more you hit drivers in the fairway, the more wedges you're going to have, more opportunities you're going to make birdie and all these kind of things. And that's why I think, coming out on tour, playing these couple of events, it's like the Rocket Mortgage. If you drove it well, you're going to have a lot of opportunities. Same thing with John Deere. I think those kind of, opportunities that have been given in the fairway from wedges from 100 yards, 160 yards, it's a big opportunity.
Luke, there's been a lot of conversations about just where the game is as far as the technology and how far the golf ball is going. And really just when I think about someone like you and even Michael Thorne Bjornsson, who had a fantastic week as well, who's a very long player in his own right. You guys grew up with all of this great technology. You grew up with all of, these instruction that is helpful as far as being able to learn how to hit the ball further. And as you grew up as a kid, was it always just go hit it as far as you can and go figure it out from there?
Actually, no. My dad coached me until I was 16 years old. And funny enough, even when we played tournaments and stuff, I would actually really never go to the range much. He would stick me out on this short course that was artificial greens. So I remember like it was yesterday, and it was like kind of rough patch. I think it's public golf course, and he would stick me out from 50 to 80 yards with a shag of balls, and we would have to hit the green and keep it. And I remember that green was bouncing, and you're bouncing over the green every single time you hit it because it's artificial. And we did that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we would go to the range maybe once or twice a week. And as a young kid, I wanted to go hit drivers and bomb it as hard as I can, but he was very strict with me on that, and I think that's what kind of led me to be where I'm at now in general. I think just to kind of have that feel and understanding that the game's not all about powering the golf ball as much. I think it's a little misunderstood because I know guys are hitting it further now, but again, I still think you have to have that feel. If you don't have that feel around the greens, making a couple of par saves here and there, like there's so many things to golf that just is incredible. So I think a big help to that was kind of learning young how to hit a wedge.
Oh, totally. And that I'm not going to put you in the bomb and gouge category, but learning how to use a wedge and having touch, because if you're somebody that hits it far, which by the way, was that something that was always something that was a superpower of yours, to say that you've always had speed, or have you developed speed over time?
I developed speed for sure. I went through this whole Bryson DeChambeau phase when I was like 15, 16. Yeah. I was inspired for sure by him. I saw him doing what he was doing, all the long drive stuff. And I think it was during the COVID year, and I was like pumping in the gym as much as I could, trying to swing as fast as I could. And I remember I got up to pretty high ball speed numbers and club head speed, but that's when the accuracy kind of went out the door, and that's when it went south quickly. But having that training and now kind of just going at 70, 80%, I can average at 180, which is really nice because I can still hit it out to about 300, 310, and it's a little easier than swinging full blast.
All right, we got to dive a little bit more into the Meathead Luke Clanton phase. How early were we waking up? How much weight were we pushing? How many protein shakes are we having? Give it all to me. I want to know.
Dude, it was a ton of caffeine for sure. It was a lot of caffeine, a lot of protein shakes, a lot of simulators. It was fun because I know all my buddies, we wake up early, work out, and then we would go hit the simulators. Probably 5 a.m. Go work out for a couple hours, go basically tear the body up as fast as we could, and then literally straight to the range, drop balls, and hit as hard as we can for about an hour. And just try to train as fast as we could. And it was like, it was good for sure to be where I'm at now, but in the moment it was crazy. Just a bunch of idiots basically trying to hit as hard as we could. But, I think it led me to where I'm at now, being able to kind of hit it. If I want to hit it hard, I can actually still square it up, which is pretty sweet.
Easy speed now, but I do. What is your to hit it really far? If somebody's listening to this, besides just the training, what is something that your body and your hands have to do to be able to generate those high ball speeds and club head speeds? Which I want to know too. What was the highest you ever got on both of those metrics?
So the highest club head speed I've ever gotten with the 45-inch driver, we'll just say stock, was, I think it was 129.9. I never cracked 130. Never cracked 130. That was juice. That was on caffeine. I can't even talk. And then I got 195 ball speed.
195 ball speed. So why the caffeine just gets you just like ready to rage?
Yeah,
loud music too.
To yeah, just hard rock, just everything you can imagine, just ready to roll. But no, it's just a bunch of timing as well. I think with the golf swing, I think people try to force it as much as they can to get it further, but it's actually not that at all. It's kind of loading the body, squatting into the shot. There's a lot of technique to it, and I learning it at a younger age, listening to Bryson, what he was talking about, even though people thought he was kind of crazy for trying to hit as far as he could. I mean, it kind of made sense because, what he did and now what he's doing now, I mean, he hits at 340 and it looks pretty easy to him. That's the kind of difference that a lot of people don't realize.
Oh, it's a tremendous advantage, and it's from watching Bryson up close and personal at the U.S. Open. I had a hard time believing anybody else could really compete with him based on the drives that he was hitting. So you make valid points, and then I watched Rory on Sunday, and he hit it very similar as well.
Yeah.
Which you were at that U.S. Open. Let's get into the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, where you qualified still as an amateur. Just almost won the low amateur, had a great battle. You and Neil Shipley were paired together on Sunday. What were the odds of that there was a tournament within a tournament, and especially between you two?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, again, like Neil Shipley's one heck of a player. I mean, he's had one heck of an amateur career, and for him to win low am at the Masters and low am the U.S. Open is pretty nuts. I don't think many people ever can say that. And it was one heck of a battle for sure. And, I know we both wanted it so bad when we were out there, and it was a good competition, no doubt about it. We were having a blast. And, I think now he's turning pro, and he's been doing actually pretty well in his pro career so far. And like, again, he's a genius off and on the golf course. Like, guy's brilliant, smart. I talked to him a few times, and I was like, I could never do what you're doing in school. It's unbelievable what he talks about. But, he's just a good dude in general as well. I mean, he deserves everything he's getting for sure. And, to be at the U.S. Open and to have a tournament within a tournament, like you said, was awesome. I mean, the people were incredible. The crowds were nuts. I've never heard crowds like that ever in my life before. And yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that 18th hole, you were kind of over there right in the trees, and you hit this beautiful high-looking cut shot, and you about holed it out, and then it looked like a putt on 18 where it just didn't quite break. And at that point, it's like your mind's probably mush at that point, right?
Dude, I mean, I tried to make that putt so bad. I hammered it, and then right when I missed it, I was like, "Oh, I got a 6-footer coming back from par now," and I was like, "Geez,
it didn't matter at that point."
Yeah,
right?
I was like, just get in the hole, please. Let's get out of here.
Man, oh man. So, I guess one of the things I want to ask you about. So, you in college, I mean, Florida State, freshman, sophomore year, you make it into match play both those years. You lost in the semis, you lost in the finals, and you have an amateur, you're still an amateur, haven't turned pro. So for you, like, is the motivation right now where you're at in your game? Is it, just continuing to try to push to whether it's winning this week and on the PGA Tour, or are you still very motivated to go win a national title? Y'all were just knocking down the doorsteps at Florida State, so you have two really good options.
Yeah, I think it's both. Honestly, I think, my mindset, I want to win a national championship at Florida State. I think that's like a goal of mine that as soon as I walked into college, I wanted to do. And we gave ourselves great opportunities the last 2 years. I mean, it's been one heck of a ride for sure so far. And I'm still just becoming a junior. And, again, if I go on and win this week or win 3M, whatever it is, like, I'll see when it happens, because I'm 20 years old. It's hard to really make any decisions right now. I'm still playing video games every night and chilling. So it's like, it's one of those things where, my mindset right now is with Florida State, just to win a national championship with them. But again, you get, 2 years on tour, all these things. It's like, it's kind of here and there, it's hard to decide.
Once you get out on the PGA Tour and you experience a couple weeks in a row and you go to US Open, it's hard not to picture yourself wanting to do that every single week. And I can't imagine going back to class and going back to school once I experience anything like the PGA Tour. You're just like, man, this is where I'm born and this is what I've dreamt of doing my whole life. So I imagine that it's like you're kind of conflicted. You just want to play the best you can, I imagine.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I just don't want to go to a math class, man. That's brutal.
Wait, what video games? We got to ask you that, because that,
dude, I mean,
for somebody who's I'm a retired gamer.
No, dude, you name it, I play. Honestly, Call of Duty, everything you can imagine. I mean, gosh, dude, I've played every game, and I still play every game. I've been actually playing. I'm gonna get into Overwatch pretty soon here. Okay. I've never played Overwatch. I don't know if you have, but
I don't even know what Overwatch is. That's how out of it I am now, I guess.
Yeah, I just found out about it a couple days ago, so I'm gonna get into that. But it's been big 2K guy, big Madden guy, like all those games. So it's been, it's fun, man. Cause I love bringing the Xbox on trips and just having a blast after the round. So it's cool.
I'm excited for the college football game to come out, not only just to play with like LSU, but to play with Eastern Kentucky and build a dynasty. It's if you never did that as a kid with Akron or whoever it might be, I love NCAA football. I'm so happy they're bringing it back.
Yeah, I'm pumped, dude. That's the first thing I'm getting when it comes out, dude. I'm so pumped for that game.
All right, we're gonna have to get the stream fired up. We're gonna have to do a little Florida State LSU battle because y'all have taken our number the last couple of years. Florida State winning in the opening game 2 years in a row. Y'all are just taking my hearts from me.
Dude,
that first game. Yeah, you definitely are. All right, so just one little follow-up question on the U.S. Open. My first professional start was at Pinehurst for the U.S. Open, and the week I didn't make the cut, but I want to ask you this because in the practice rounds on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, playing with whoever it was, high-level PGA Tour guys, I'm not sure who you played with, but there were certain guys that I played with after finishing the practice rounds, and seeing their golf balls in the air and how they practiced and in what my golf ball looked like compared to theirs and being able to kind of play that compare and contrast game. Did you find yourself after your practice rounds playing with whoever you played with, feeling more confident about your game and just your career as you look forward?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to play with some pretty cool dudes. I played with Scottie on Tuesday. I played with Brooks and I played with Webb. So, it was pretty cool for sure. I mean,
kind of nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah, I in the practice round on Tuesday, there was like thousands of people watching us with Scottie, and I was like, this is unreal. I was like, I'm more nervous during this than anything. So, but it was incredible. I mean, watching him play golf, he's a big role model of mine, of course, the way his faith is based and the way he plays golf. And, I asked him a bunch of questions. I was chewing his ear off the whole entire round, basically.
Yeah, as he should.
Yeah, I mean, it's just cool, like kind of seeing in person and seeing what he does and how his feet slide and all these things. Like, I mean, he is one heck of a player, but he's also one amazing person. That's what I realized. He's not some dude that is just great at golf. He's also a really good person. And, he surpassed every expectation I had of him as a person, and the way that Ted Scott was with him as well, all those guys, it kind of gave me, realizing that golf is not everything, it's just a game when it comes down to it, and realizing that we're able to play, week by week and go travel to places and play more golf. And, it's just freaking awesome, man. I mean, playing with Brooks as well, like when he walks around, you can just tell that this dude is good. Like, yeah. I remember I was walking next to him and I'm like, dude, like, I just don't feel like I should be walking next to you right now. This is crazy. And it's like, it's just unbelievable. Like, all those dudes were just super nice and super helpful with everything. And Brooks was texting me before the Rocket Mortgage as well. And like, they're just very supportive of everything. And it's just been awesome because they've just been there for me and helping me out through everything. Because again, I'm still learning how to travel these places and get my freaking passes for the week and stuff. So it's like, it's cool.
Did you pick up anything from their games? Just certain shots that they hit that you're trying to maybe incorporate into your game?
Yeah, their wedges are just so good, man. Like, it's unreal. I mean, they can land in certain spots within a yard. And I remember at Pinehurst, of course, like you can't really miss a golf shot out there. It's like tabletop. So I remember on the first hole and like Scottie, it's this like little pitching wedge just feathers down into the pen. And I'm like, gosh, dude, that was so nice. And then I'm ripping a 54 degree, like trying to get it up there. It's like, it's one of those things where I realize that they have so much control with their irons. Same thing with Brooks Koepka as well. I mean, flusher of the golf ball, Webb Simpson as well. He was hitting, I think it was like this 7-wood to the moon, just on a line towards pins. And I'm like, gosh, dude, like, these guys are good. Like, it's incredible to watch. But I think it's also just the level of focus they have and also enjoyment of golf. Like Brooks was so calm out there. I know he's been out there for a little bit and having experience and stuff and winning in previous tournaments, but just the calmness of him and telling me like, hey, when you're out there playing, just enjoy it and be calm. Not to really over rush things, not try to look in the future, not try to do any of these things because you can't control it. Only you can control is right in front of you. And like realizing that, like it's the truth. It's said a lot, but no one really realizes that like when you're out there playing is that you're just trying to focus on every single golf shot.
Right.
And, it's been very helpful for sure.
Oh, that's really fantastic advice from Brooks. And I can tell you this, I've watched that feathered little wedge shot from Scottie the last couple of years. And the 3/4 little feel shots that he can float in there are just so dirty that people have no idea how good it is.
No idea. None. It's so gross.
And now he could putt it. He's the underrated part of his game that nobody really talks about enough is how good of a pitcher he is too. Just can spin it so much from everywhere.
Like, he was hitting chip shots from like screwed places out there in the practice round, just nipping it to like a foot. And I'm like, gosh, dude, like
you got the putter out.
Yeah, I got the putter. I'm whipping it up the hill, trying to get it up, and it's like he's hitting this flop shot to like a foot. And I'm like, gosh, dude, this guy's good.
Oh man, gosh, that had to be such a fun experience. And playing with Scottie, Brooks, and then you go out and make the cut, the U.S. Open. And I think this is a good way to kind of transition this conversation a little bit into what we've kind of already talked about a little bit, which is PGA Tour. You got this accelerated program now with PGA Tour U, and if anybody's followed this program, it rewards good play for underclassmen, that if you get to enough points, you get a tour card. And we've seen it with Gordon Sargent already. But then we look at other PGA Tour U program, which rewards the best seniors. We saw now Davis Thompson, who I believe was number 1 on that list a couple years back, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Davis, Ludwig, and now Thorn Bjornsson, I believe, were the 3. I'm not sure how accurate that is. It feels right, so we're going to roll with it. But let's talk about that with how it relates to you, because I think a lot of people, like myself, somebody who follows the game closely, you finished 10th at Rocket Mortgage, you finished 2nd at John Deere. You obviously finished, I think it was 41st at the U.S. Open. Was that right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So you've would have made up to, I mean, we did a little calculation. You would have been right around 96th in the FedEx Cup if you were able to earn points. So you're already well inside the top 125. But how this PGA Tour U is structured is very interesting to me, because, you get a point for making a cut in a major. You get a point for playing in a tour event, for making the cut. And you only get a point, though, for a top 10. The point system to me doesn't really make sense, because it really only rewards someone like who we've had on the podcast, Jackson Koepka, who was had an incredible year, freshman year at Auburn. Similar stats to you. Y'all both were the 2 best players in college golf. But he swept all the awards, getting 3 points at each one, and the benchmark's 20. So for you, being the guy who probably finished 2nd in every single one of these awards, and then not really getting to reap the benefits of extra points for playing extra well at the John Deere, finishing 2nd, and only getting 1 point, to me, there's just something missing here, because I feel like you only have 9 accelerated points. You need 20. But I think the golf world's like, can we get this guy on the PGA Tour right now? So I just want to kind of hear your overall thoughts on all this.
Yeah. I mean, again, like it's one of those things where it's golf. I mean, it's, I talked about it a lot with Ben, my agent, and Jason, my caddy. It was one of those things where me and Jackson, again, we had incredible years. As a freshman, what he's done is pretty unbelievable.
Insane.
I mean, yeah, like there's no doubt about it. I mean, the kid's unbelievable at golf, and it leaned towards his way, which was awesome for him. I mean, he deserves it as well. And it kind of stinks a little bit, just because if I did win a couple of those awards, I'd be a little bit closer to kind of getting my card. But again, I mean, I'm kind of focused on just playing good golf. I think that's the only thing I can control right now as we speak, is just playing the best golf I can, and realizing that my golf game can take care of what I can do, and that's it. I mean, if I go out and play great this week, awesome. If I don't, I don't. But again, I think just over the last 3 weeks, it's been just one heck of an experience just to even learn these kind of, playing in the last couple of groups on PGA Tour events, finishing second on the John Deere, like these kind of things. Like it's shaping me up as a player to become better in the future and understand it more.
And the golf world is changing so much, the landscapes of professional golf with the Live Golf Tour and the PGA Tour. And I think the best thing that the PGA Tour has done is enable this PGA Tour U program. But as everything has changed in this landscape of professional golf, we're constantly making adjustments every year on the PGA Tour with signature events and always kind of making it make sense. And I think you're the first person to be like, wait, hold on. This PGA Tour U program's really great, but it doesn't make sense right now because the point structure and how it works. I still believe that a T2 at the John Deere is not 1 point. That should be closer to 5 points. And that, to me, I think if we're learning anything from this, it's that the PGA Tour U program, although really the accelerated thing, we love it. We continue to support it. We also need to make sure that if someone like you comes up, we need to make sure that they're getting rewarded for their good play. So I'm standing on the hill for you. You don't need to say a word because guess what? I mean, you're making money long term for not being a professional and being an amateur, turning away close to probably $1 million, but you're going to make it so much more in your career that it's got to be tough though, right? You got to be like, yeah, I wish I'd hit the account,
Yeah. It was funny because me and my caddy talked about it. He kind of joked around me. He's like, before the U.S. Open, we knew we had some exemptions, and he's like, he made a bet with me saying I'm going to make $2.2 million by the finish of all my tournaments. I was like, you're crazy, dude. And I think we've reached like just under $1 million already. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, dang, dude, like this is crazy, but again, we finished up the tournament and we literally looked at the stats for how much money you make, and it shows a big fat 0 next to my name. And we were just laughing because to me, it's like, it's so funny that I'm able to even play with these guys and do these things. And like, everyone's telling me, oh, you should have got all that money and all that. I'm like, I'm playing golf to play golf. Like,
yeah,
it's a blessing just to be even out there playing. Like, people don't realize that I'm still 20 years old as an amateur playing golf. Like, yeah, I competed really well last week. It was awesome, but I'm not a pro yet. I'm not even close to that. So, we're going to see what happens and just keep going with it.
And you, as an amateur, you get 7 sponsors exemptions to your disposal. You got one at the Rocket Mortgage, which I assumed that since you finished 10th at the Rocket Mortgage, that got you into the next week at the John Deere. Actually, another thing that we learned is that an amateur does not get the benefit of that top 10 to the following week. So you have to burn through the exemptions and all this. That's another sticking point that I'm like, hey, if somebody top 10s in an event, they should get into the event no matter who it is. I think Nick Dunlap winning at the MX this year, Thorbjorn Bjornsson is a tongue twister. I say it every time, playing well last week as well. And then yourself going and do it 2 weeks in a row. I just think that that's another one that we can revisit and say, hey, if we're going to have these players come in and play in the summer, coming from college, let's give them that opportunity to not have to burn through their sponsors exemptions. And if they play well based off merit, let's get them to the next week.
That would be great. No doubt about it. But again, it's just unfortunate. I think everyone's still trying to learn the game. I think, gosh, dude, we have so many good college players. People don't realize it, that this generation is going to be insane at golf. I mean, it's so hard to win in college, and people don't realize it. Like Ludwig and Michael Thorbjornsson, Christo Lampret, all these dudes are incredible. Like people don't see it yet, but within a year or two they will. And it's like, I think we're still trying to learn the ropes a little bit with everything and the exemptions and all this stuff. But again, like you said, like, it'd be great to get into next week with top 10. But again, I think everyone's still trying to learn. I think that's just how it is. I don't think they really expected too many amateurs to kind of, I guess, do that. I don't really,
we got to keep revisiting. We got to keep changing because the golf, we're changing as we go.
We'll see. It's one of those things where I think we're all still learning. So
last complaint. This is my third gripe in a row. And this one goes for the Open Championship. You finish T2 and we didn't really know how it was going to be determined on who was going to be the player that got to go between you and CT Pan. Turned out it was a world ranking based decision and CT Pan gets to go instead of you. That's another frustrating one to talk about. And if I can make any suggestion, it's that there should have been a chip off on the 18th hole, like any member guess. You and CT Pan in front of the Laney Wilson crowd and just a chip off.
I would have absolutely loved that. That would have been a blast. No doubt about it. I think we should have done it from the Jordan bunker on the right side and downhill.
Oh, gosh.
That would have been perfect. No, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't even realize this is how out of it I was. I didn't even realize I could play for the Open. So when I walked off the golf course and I was in like second place or whatever, like one of the interview people came out to me like, "Oh, you might be in the Open Championship," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "I don't even have my passport. I don't have anything." I was like, "I don't know about that." So, again, like it's again, I think we're all just still learning to the ropes, and I think of course CT Pan is an incredible player as well. I think he deserves it as much as anyone else. So. I think me and Michael both finished second as well. It was one of those things where, it's just, again, like it's just golf. It's just going to happen to certain people. And maybe I've gotten a few unlucky breaks, but again, just keep playing good golf and see what happens.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching you play this week at the ISCO Championship in Kentucky, another shootout type of event. Have you ever played the golf course in Keeneland?
I have not. No, I'm playing tomorrow, so pretty pumped.
Good for you. You got a practice round set up?
I do. Yes, sir. 9 a.m.
What's the game?
Ready to roll.
What's the game?
I'm going to play 9 holes with my caddy. Probably do a little over-under bet on what I'm going to shoot on the 9.
There you go.
Probably practice a little bit. And then I've been doing a cold plunge, dude, every single day. And that stuff is nuts.
Game changer.
It's so
Game
good.
changer.
Yeah, I'll tell everyone to do that because that stuff's incredible. I don't think people realize how good that stuff is.
Yeah. How from your first impressions of being on tour for 2 weeks in a row, just getting a courtesy car and having the rehab facilities, the workout room. I mean, just kind of let us know what exactly that experience has been like.
Dude, so at the U.S. Open, I didn't even realize that there were spots for it. So I was just doing my own thing. Like, I was doing my own thing in my own room. And then at the Rocket, I was like, man, dude, I would love, to get some, therapy done or whatever on my legs. And then I walk in there, and I was so shy and scared. And I was like, hey, guys, I'm a player. I'm just an amateur. And they're all welcoming. And I've been in every single day now since, I think, probably Wednesday at the Rocket. So they all know me pretty well now, and it's just funny. I mean, I was so scared walking in there just to even ask for anything. So it's just funny. I'm still learning it all, man.
Yeah, even from dining to being in the workout facilities, rehab facilities at the same. Are there any players that you were in there at the same time that you're like, man, I just want to just talk to this person, pick their brain, or any good stories that you can recall from that from those experiences?
Yeah, I think the best one was Eric Van Rooyen. I'm a very big fan of him, and I remember I walk into the gym and I see him and I'm like, damn, dude, just don't be an idiot. Don't do anything stupid in here. Don't fall off the medicine ball or whatever it is. And he started talking to me, and he was the nicest dude in the world, just super welcoming. And he was like, hey man, if you're ever down this place, let's play together. And he actually texted me after the John Deere and was incredible playing. It's crazy to think these guys even know my name. It's awesome. I'm still a little kid watching these guys play golf. Even at the John Deere when I did the walk and talk with him, I was literally pinching myself, man, because I was this is
this is what
Roy
you've been
does
watching,
this.
Man.
Yeah, I was Roy does this, all these guys do it, and I'm doing it, and I'm gosh, dude, it's just incredible. I'm playing golf right now, talking to these guys, it was awesome.
Well, man, keep on making birdies. None of this is a surprise to me, and this is my favorite part of my job now. Is I get to watch guys like you at a younger level. I've watched you for 3 or 4 years now, and I've seen your name, and I knew this guy's gonna be an absolute stud. So none of this has been a shock to me. I'm so happy to see you have so much early success. Great year at Florida State, and just continue on to a great summer. And after this week of the ISCO Championship, where can we see you after that?
So I get 1 week off, and then I'm going to the 3M as well. So
Great.
Yeah, I'll be going there, and then USAM, and then back to class. So pretty excited.
And back to class. Wow, there it is. All right. Well, Luke, get some much-needed rest. Have a great week in Keeneland, Kentucky. And I guess go Noles. I'll give the Geaux Noles. How about that?
That's fair. I'll take that.
All right, buddy. Play well this week. Thanks again.
Thank you.
You know, I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our lovely fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the